WWE has changed a lot since Nick Khan came on board. The former CAA co-head of TV was hired as the president and chief revenue officer. WWE released George Barrios and Michelle Wilson earlier this year. Two were co-CEOs of WWE for 11 years. Nick Khan was a different hire for the company, as he came on board with no experience in pro wrestling. Since then, his qualifications are the last thing fans are worried about. With him taking blame for the mass releases in WWE, it seems he could be primed to take over from Vince McMahon. This is Wrestling Up, and here's what would happen if WWE never hired Nick Khan. Before we get into the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Up and turn on all notifications to stay up to date with everything in the world of pro wrestling. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at WrestlingHubOfficial and also follow us on Twitter at Wrestling_Hub. Barrios and Wilson were released from their positions in WWE. However, when they were being removed, the company didn't have in mind a replacement. They knew with the disagreements with Vince McMahon, those two would not have lasted, but they were the ones who had held WWE together for a long time. In truth, their 10 years with the company was not the best, as at some of the worst moments, they were going to leave and there was no way they were going to stop thanks to the difference of opinions they had with the WWE chairman, though there was no need to replace them with someone as ruthless business-oriented as Nick Khan. The moment Khan entered the company, he had one focus: to increase profits. While this was good news for investors, it was horrible for anyone who put wrestling first. It became clear why he was not a good choice in that role, as wrestlers were regularly released. The company is shedding weight that the current board and Khan think is excessive. Perhaps in the long term there was a need for cuts, but not in the way the releases have been done. It's unlikely that any other person coming into this position, with the exception of Khan, would conduct business in this manner. Until recently, Triple H was looked at as the crowned prince of WWE. That has changed. He no longer has half the influence backstage he did a couple years back. What happened? Two things. AEW did better than NXT on Wednesday nights. Big surprise. Why would the top show of the new and hot company in the market not do well against a brand that has been shown badly by the company themselves? NXT has been insulted again and again, yet they were surprised when it didn't go well. The other reason is Nick Khan's appearance in the company. He was not a fan of Triple H's policy of hiring as many top indie stars and training them for NXT. It's the reason for the releases. The two probably don't get along behind the scenes. Recently, there was a report that Khan and Triple H are best friends, but in reality, that's not the case, as Vince Russo recently mentioned. So don't sit there and tell me this guy is your best friend, when you just said what we're doing was not working. I'm sorry, that's human nature. So right off the bat there, you just undid everything Triple H did in the last how many years? And you were going to sit there and tell me you guys are rubbing elbows at his 50th? Come on. That right there for me is a huge red flag. Triple H without Khan in the company would probably have been in a much better place backstage. Speaking of which, he would likely be the favorite to take over. Right now, Nick Khan is the favorite to take over WWE after Vince McMahon steps down. Given fans had not heard of him 2 years back, this is a development no one expected. Dave Meltzer talked about the story on Wrestling Observer Radio, where he said, I mean, it's kind of a board of directors thing, but probably Nick Khan would replace Vince McMahon. Yeah, unless they went and hired somebody else from the outside, but probably Nick Khan. Yes. The revelation is a shocking one, as it was thought Khan came in as a temporary stopgap, but it appears WWE made it their business plan a long ways down the line. As unlikely as it seems that McMahon will step down from his position soon, the WWE chairman is no longer a young man. He's expected to step away sooner than later, and it could happen in the next few years. Given Khan's reputation, fans would not be happy with this sequence of events. Had Khan not been hired by WWE, Triple H would be the favorite to replace his father-in-law, if not Stephanie herself. McMahon's job is not one that one person can do, because Vince works far more more than one person should. A team of Triple H and his chosen few, alongside board members, would probably take care of the company. This would be better for everyone, as with Triple H, they would know exactly who they are getting, while in Nick Khan, they're getting an unknown. It's possible Khan might help WWE, but if he had not been hired, fans would have been happier with Triple H in charge. So many wrestlers have been released over the last few years that it's obscene. Braun Strowman, Bray Wyatt, Samoa Joe, Karrion Kross, Keith Lee, Rusev were all top names let go. While Joe was rehired thanks only to Triple H, who found a role for him on NXT, the message was clear. WWE did not care about the wrestlers they were hiring. In the middle of a pandemic, they were releasing them, making it a market where there were so many free agents that AEW or any competitors could hire only a few. There's a lot wrong with this, but it's the tactic Nick Khan went with. It not only alienated fans who felt there was no point being connected with WWE since they fired wrestlers in the middle of a storyline like Aleister Black being released a week after attacking Big E, it also alienated the wrestlers. More than ever, wrestlers have taken their leave of WWE. Adam Cole, Bryan Danielson, and others have chosen to leave by letting their contracts expire. Had Nick Khan not been hired, whoever came instead might not have made as many releases. Currently, WWE is not in the best position in the public eye. Financially, they're doing well, but fans have not been happy with the company releasing so many of their stars in the middle of a pandemic, and instead of making it a one-time occurrence, they've kept doing it. As opposed to trying to fix company issues, there has been a surge of mistakes. The product is not as good as it should be. Raw on a weekly basis is repetitive, and most of the time stars the company wants to push are treated poorly in a couple of months. Fans hate tuning in to watch most of these shows, with only SmackDown getting some positive reviews. Things have even worsened for the company with the controversy surrounding the release of Jeff Hardy. On top of everything else the superstar has been going through, the public image of the company is at an all-time low, with viewership decreasing by the day, and this is something they can't control. It need not have been this bad had they simply been more careful of how they treated their stars and their talent, as opposed to throwing them out of the company disrespectfully. AEW, on the other hand, has been doing well, picking up the wrestlers the company has discarded so carelessly. The company has been doing well, and while WWE has gotten a worse reputation by signing stars like Bryan Danielson and CM Punk, wrestlers that the fans love, AEW has gained a reputation for being a better wrestling company. While WWE has a far bigger reputation and a huge fan base that's not going anywhere, had Nick Khan not come into place, AEW probably would not be as favored by wrestling fans, as they would not have been able to sign as much talent, possibly including very big names. And this was What If WWE Never Hired Nick Khan. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.